So here's are some example of what we call linear equations. The graph of them are straight lines. Okay, that's why it's called linear equation. It has this line, L-I-N-E, in this spelling right here. Okay, now all of these are called linear equation. The standard form of a linear equation is given to be ax plus by equals c. So any equation that can be written in this form is called a linear equation. So here A, B, C are real number, just like this, 2, 5, 4 over there. Where A and B are not both 0. Okay, so see this example over here. This one over here, you can rewrite this equation into this form. Okay, you can just add 1/2 of x to both sides and put it in this form, right? This is in the standard form. This one over here is having this b to be 0. 0 times y will be 0. So you only have this x, so y over here. And for this one over here, the a here will be 0. So 0 times x is 0. So you only have a y here. Okay. Now, to see if an equation is a linear equation, a lot of time you can just look at the exponent on the variable. Exponent on the variable here will be 1. You see here's 1, right? First power, right? First power. And they are not in the denominator, okay? And it's not inside absolute value, okay? So that's a quick way to take a look at the equation to tell if it's linear or not. But think about that. Those equations that can be written in this standard form will be linear equation, okay? Now, look at this example. We're trying to graph this. I can tell this is a linear equation because that's in the standard form, right? Ax plus by equal to c, okay? And you can also see the exponent on x and y are 1 here, okay? So it is a straight line. The graph of it is going to be a straight line. So I'm going to pick x to be 0 and try to find the y coordinate for that point. So we put x equals 0, substitute x equals 0, 2 times 0 will be 0. So we get negative 5y equal 10, so y equal negative 2. So y coordinate is negative 2 here. Now, instead of picking the value for x, we can also pick the number for y. So this time I'm going to pick 0 for y and plug in y equal to 0. We got 2x equal 10, divide both sides by 2, x equal 5. So x over here is equal to 5. Now 2 point will be enough. We can actually graph it. Let's just pick a third point as a check. So I pick x to be 10, substitute x equal 10, substitute here. We got y is equal to 2. So y equal to 2. So we have 3 points. Now we plug in this 3 points. So 0, negative 2 here, 5, 0 here, 10, 2 over here. Looks like they are on one straight line, right? We graph this straight line right here. That's the graph for this equation. Now notice that this point over here is where the graph intersects with this x-axis. We call this x-intercept. This point over here is where the graph intersects with the y-axis. We call that the y-intercept. Notice that for x-intercept, the y coordinate is 0. When you look to the side, see the corresponding y coordinate is 0. And for y-intercept, this x coordinate here is 0. So x-intercept, y is 0. Y-intercept, x is 0. Okay. So to find x-intercept, we're going to set y equal to 0, and then we solve for x. To find y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0, and then we solve for y. Okay. Now here's one example. We're trying to find the x and y-intercept of this equation, and then we graph this equation. So x-intercept, what do we set equal to 0? X or y? Well, some people say it's always opposite. X-intercept, we're going to set y equal to 0. Okay, so set y equal to 0. When you set y equal to 0, then you get 0 for this y, and then 15 times 0 is 0, so 5x equal to negative 15. Divide both sides by 5, x equal to negative 3. So x is negative 3. So -3 is the x-coordinate for this x-intercept, and the y-coordinate is 0. Now, sometimes in other countries, when they say x-intercept, they will just say it is -3. I know that back in China, we just say x-intercept is -3. But over here, I think in this book, x-intercept is the point. So we say the x-intercept is this point, -3, 0. Now, for y-intercept, we're going to set x equals 0. So x will be 0. Set x equals 0. Substitute x equals 0 into that equation. We're going to get 15y equal to -15. Divide both sides by 15, y equal to -1. So we substitute -1 into the y coordinate here. Okay. So we got the x-intercept and also the y-intercept. So we plug it over here. X-intercept here, y-intercept over here, and then we graph this straight line over here. So that's the graph for this equation. So on Weber side, the way to graph it, you choose this line tool, click on one of the point, and you double click on the other one, then the line will appear. Okay. Okay. Next, we're going to graph this y equal to 4. I know that this is a linear equation because you can see the exponent on the variable, and also this is in the standard form. So the graph of it is a straight line. Now, how do you graph this linear equation? Over here, it says that y here equals 4. This y here is a y coordinate. So the y coordinate can only be 4, nothing else. Okay. So y can only be 4. Well, does it talk about, is there any restriction on x over here? Well, it doesn't have any restriction on x. So x can be any number. So I'm going to pick x to be 0, 2, and 3. And then I plug in those points. So 0, 4, 2, 4, and 3, 4. So, and then we graph this straight line right here. Okay. So as you can see here, this is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, so let's label this. So y equal to 4, that's the graph for this equation, y equal to 4. Okay. And we label this graph up here by that equation. And this is a horizontal line. So it's a horizontal line. Okay, now you might observe that if you have an equation, y equal to a number, then it's going to be a horizontal line with the y-intercept 0, b. Okay. So you locate b on this y-axis, and then you draw a horizontal line that goes through this point. So this will be the graph of this equation. Okay. Next one, we're going to graph x equal to -2. This is the x coordinate. X coordinate can only be -2 and nothing else. So x has to be -2. There's no restriction on the y. It doesn't mention about y. So y could be any number. So I'm going to pick y to be 0, 1, and 4. Okay. Now notice that this is a linear equation. Okay. So the graph of it is going to be a straight line. So actually we only need 2 points, but we just pick a third point here as a check. Okay. So let's plug in those points. So we have -2, 0 here, -2, 1 over here, and -2, 4 over here. This is a straight line, and it is vertical. So we're going to label this line here by this equation. So we put down x equal to -2, okay, and this is a vertical line. Vertical line. Okay. In Chinese, we call that 垂直线. Right. So now, in general, if you have x equal to a real number, then the graph of it is going to be a vertical line, just like this one. Okay. With the x-intercept over here being this number a, 0. So you will locate a on this x-axis, and then you draw a vertical line that goes through this let's try to graph these two equations. The first one, x equal to 0. So let's practice on that one. Okay. X equal to 0, horizontal or vertical? You tell me. Okay. So x equal to 0, well, the x coordinate has to stay the same, so it has to be a vertical line. So it's a vertical line, okay, and passing 0 over here. So it is this vertical line over here. And it is actually the y-axis. Okay. Now, this one over here, y equals 0. So every point on that line has the same y coordinate. What kind of line would that be? Well, it has to be horizontal. Horizontal line, they have the same y coordinate. Every point will have the same y coordinate. So it's going to be passing 0 here and like that. Okay. So it is the same as the x-axis. Okay. So you see every point on this x-axis, the y coordinate is going to be 0. Okay. So that's the graph for this equation.